All right. Hey, good afternoon, folks. Once again, we are back taking a look at the tropics. Today is still Friday, August 2nd, 2024. This is your afternoon update on now named Potential Tropical Cyclone Four, our former Invest 97L, the wave we've been tracking. It's currently over central Cuba, and the system was tagged at 11 a.m. by the National Hurricane Center as PTC 4. Remember, that's just a funny name the Hurricane Center uses when they need to get watches or warnings out, but the storm hasn't finished getting itself together yet, so it's not a tropical depression or tropical storm just yet. It's still kind of a wave getting itself going, but we needed the watches and warnings out, so you get PTC 4. That's what we're tracking for now, but this will become Tropical Storm 4 or Tropical Depression 4 and or Tropical Storm Debbie sooner than later. So we're over here on Tropical Tidbits here looking at the visible satellite imagery, broad center of circulation. We can see clear rotation on both sides and fairly healthy cyclonic rotation, just too broad yet to really be considered a tropical storm. We're going to carefully monitor these thunderstorm bursts and these spiral bands and kind of see where they're at. Best guess right now, the center is over land somewhere right here. And this is all generally moving off to the west northwest, about 290 degrees. At about 16 miles per hour. And we need to watch very carefully today to see if eventually this center circulation holds and it stays and behaves as expected. Again, Key West right there for your reference point. Or if one of these sides become more dominant. If thunderstorms continue on this side, it might tug that X a little further south, which could change our trajectory. But let's go ahead and get into the National Hurricane Center's first advisory. This is their first forecast, or really their second forecast cone, but not much different from this morning. Again, maximum sustained winds just 30 miles an hour right now. And the first cone does show that broad recurve that we've been talking about. It falls right in line with the computer models. The question really is going to be, does the storm take the center of this track? Does it hug the eastern side or does it hug the western side? We'll start out by saying that for now, the Hurricane Center is only forecasting a tropical storm. Thus, only tropical storm watches and warnings have been issued. No hurricane watches went up today. This is a summary of the current watches and warnings in effect. You can pause the video or go to the Hurricane Center's website to look at these. I'm not going to read them all, but basically we have the Florida Keys in a tropical storm watch, and then around a little bit south of Tampa up to about the Big Bend under tropical storm watch. Tropical storm warnings are in effect for more like the Naples area and back down to where the Keys start. So the system is going to be producing tropical storm conditions, and again, expected to landfall around 65 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour early on Monday morning or maybe even late Sunday night. However, timing and trajectory are still not really clear because we still don't have that actual center of circulation. So I want to caution that while this cone is a good guess, there are going to be adjustments, and those adjustments do matter if you're, say, in Jacksonville or you're in Lake City or you're down in Ocala or Orlando or St. Cloud or Tampa. All those adjustments do matter east-west depending on what you might get. So we need to prepare as if we're going to get the worst of what this cone has to offer and then hope for the best. That's the best way to always go about this. I still think potential for hurricanes on the table, and if I lived anywhere along the west coast of Florida, I would still be preparing for the potential for a hurricane, if nothing else, but because you're supposed to prepare for a category higher than what we're showing. So if we're showing you a tropical storm, category 1 certainly possible. And again, if we're saying 65 mile an hour tropical storm, 75 mile an hour hurricane is not out of the pale. And I think the storm will have some very warm water and very good conditions to work with. So, Hurricane Center's got a good opening bid, but again, you want to prepare for something a little stronger than what we're, showing you here. But this is the first forecast. Generally speaking, again, that landfall likely Sunday night or early Monday morning. There's still some question about timing as well. The GFS by Monday morning sees this all the way near the coast of South Carolina. The European model is just dragging it ashore Monday morning at 7 a.m. The Hurricane Center has it making landfall a few hours before that. A good middle ground might be something like what the HAFS has out right now. The B run did have this coming in about 992 millibars somewhere north of the Swanee River. This is 0Z Monday, so it's late Sunday night at 992, which would be a healthy, strong tropical storm. So that might be a good guess, but again, these micromanages do matter because if you bring this in closer to Tampa, it may dramatically affect what northern Florida gets. But if you bring this in around the Big Bend, it might dramatically impact what Orlando gets. It might lessen the rain impact a lot. But basically, you have your center of your storm here. Whoever is north And east of that storm is going to get the most rainfall. You can see the model simulating those heavy tropical rain bands moving northward, and those are going to be containing tons of tropical downpours and tropical storm force winds. And as this moves up and down the coast, we bring this back down, and then we start just lashing Tampa, Naples, and whatnot, and then it moves in northeast Florida, getting hit with some of these really heavy rain bands, and then it moves northward from there, and then pushes that heavier rain into the Carolinas and Georgia going into Monday afternoon. Again, just want to point out that the timing on this is not very fast. So, again, we have that landfall Sunday night into Monday, but Monday even afternoon, this is still crawling around Jacksonville. So, the impacts will be felt for possibly more than a day in some cases. You might start getting rain bands by Sunday afternoon, say in Jacksonville, and then they may not end until Monday night or Tuesday when that rain finally gets out of the area for the most part. And I'm not going to get into specifics really yet, but this is the broad brush rainfall potential from the National Hurricane Center. They are showing 8 to 12 inches of rain, very possible for the west coast of Florida. And then elsewhere, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches is a good call for a lot of the region, but then these will kind of narrow down and verify a little tighter as we get closer to the event. But basically, wherever that line winds up being, if it's something like this, then anyone to the right of that line is going to get a lot of rainfall. And when you're looking at these tropical storm graphics for rainfall, if say you're in Jacksonville, you're going, okay, that's 4 to 6, looks like, with some pockets of 6 to 8. Call it 6 as a nice middle ground. You need to expect that in the worst case scenario, you might get up to 12 inches. You pretty much double what the broad area rainfall forecast is for the maximum kind of like worst case scenario. So don't discount that just because, I'm in the yellow, so I'm like in the 4. No, you're kind of more like in the 6, and you could be up to the 12. So will most people get 12 inches of rain? No, not at all. But, someone could. If that rain band just picked your house and hates you, could happen. So broad brush, though, that's a lot of rainfall, and it will be leading to flooding concerns, especially in the areas that have already had a lot of rain so far this summer. And then, look up the coast. Look at Wilmington, Charleston, Savannah. You're dangerously close, that 8 to 12 inch marker, and then back towards Tampa Bay, 8 to 12 inches. Naples and Punta Gorda and whatnot, 8 to 12 inches. A lot of folks are going to see a lot of rainfall from this. It's a big storm, and storm surge is going to be an impact as well. If this comes in north of Tampa, you're talking about 2 to 4 at least. I think that'll go up because if it comes in north of Tampa, it might be a little stronger. If it's a hurricane, category 1, say near the Swanee River, that's going to go 3 to 5 at least, if not higher. Tampa Bay is incredibly vulnerable to storm surge, and this could be coming in just north of you. And we've talked about this a couple times lately with Ian and Dahlia last year, but those kind of went west and they went south. This one coming in a lot closer in that trajectory. Bad news bears for the Tampa Bay region. But we're going to talk a little more specific impacts when it comes time. I want to see the Hurricane Center forecast throughout the night, and I want to get this thing just offshore of Cuba or very close to where we have a firmly consolidated center so we know exactly where this is starting from. We lock in that track, and then we get those more final forecasts. But anywhere in the Florida Peninsula tonight, you need to be preparing for tropical storm force winds. You need to be preparing for a lot of rain. And then folks, near that west coast, Tampa, points north, points south, you still need to be thinking about the potential of a hurricane because that's not off the table. So that's what I got for you guys for now. We'll have more updates tomorrow morning, and then of course, the page will have more continuous updates as they come out. I'll be working a lot tomorrow, but I'll have more stuff tomorrow night, and then we'll have updates Sunday as well. We'll be tracking this every step of the way through landfall. So that's what I got for you guys this afternoon. As always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.